Let's quickly talk about TurboTax versus Jackson Hewitt. And so here's an overview I want you to pay attention to when we actually get into this comparative analysis. When you think about Jackson Hewitt versus TurboTax, there are two to three things I want you to think about. First of all, TurboTax is more expensive than Jackson Hewitt, but TurboTax has more services, more options when it comes to filing. So basically, whether you want to file individual taxes or you want to file business taxes, TurboTax has more options. Now, Jackson Hewitt is really, in our view, the best one-size-fits-all package. It's one of those packages where you are able to file online, you're able to file over the phone, you are able to actually have all kinds of assistance levels depending upon your situation. TurboTax is more expensive. Jackson Hewitt is less expensive, but it really lacks certain features that maybe people who are looking for a more comprehensive service will really offer. Okay, so if you have a complicated tax return, if you have a complicated, quote unquote, complicated tax return, you want to go with TurboTax. That's for sure. And especially if you want to have live assistance all the time. Now that will cost you some money though. But hey, listen, it is worth it. If you have, we would advise Jackson Hewitt for those tax filers, those individuals who have either a pretty straightforward tax situation or a mildly complicated tax situation. In other words, if your situation is not really that complicated, if it's a little complicated but not that much, you want to go with Jackson Hewitt, not a problem. Okay. Now, Jackson Hewitt has something that we'll talk about that later on. Jackson Hewitt has, they both have free editions, but the free edition on TurboTax is stricter, is more limited than what you have on Jackson Hewitt. Okay, for instance, on TurboTax, if you go with a free edition, you cannot actually itemize. So you need to actually take the standard deduction, and you also need to your income has to be below a certain threshold to qualify. I mean, the requirements are fairly similar with what Jackson Hewitt is asking for, but Jackson Hewitt is less strict overall. I'll talk about that later on. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Now let's dig a little deeper here. I want to give you a review here. So let's first start with TurboTax. So when you think about TurboTax, I want you to think about a lot of stuff. First of all, TurboTax is part of the Intuit family. So Intuit is known for brands such as MailChimp when it comes to email marketing, but also QuickBooks when it comes to business accounting software. Okay, they used to have also Mint, but they are going to discontinue this personal finance app as of within a few weeks actually. So basically, QuickBooks is kind of really a popular accounting software. So this is kind of cool. Now, one thing I want to say here is that when you think about TurboTax, you have a constellation of things to think about. First of all, you have a free edition. As I said before, the free edition actually is a basic online edition that's available for only the simplest tax situations and returns. Okay, and so a state return and e-filing come free with this package as well. So if you qualify, you are going to file your state tax return for free. And TurboTax is actually one of the few programs that lets you seamlessly import from the accounting program QuickBooks. That makes sense because QuickBooks and TurboTax are owned by the same company. So for the free edition, that's what you have. What about the deluxe edition? By the way, TurboTax has a four pricing tiers. They have the free tier, the deluxe tier, the premier tier, and the self-employed. And they also have a few add-on options that you can actually you can integrate. So when we talk about the deluxe edition, this basically is TurboTax's lowest cost tier and its most popular. It can deal with all manner of tax credits and deductions, and it's offered for $69 to $75, and each state return costs an additional $59 to $65. And TurboTax's deluxe plan also maximizes mortgage interest and property tax deductions. And the cool thing, what we love, is that it really offers a deductible service that can help you organize charitable donations and value them correctly. So you're able to actually take the donations that you qualify for at the right amount. So this is kind of cool. And so this deductible service searches more than 350 to 400 sources of tax deductions and credits and covers education tax credits along with simple expenses. Really, really cool. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about TurboTax versus Jackson Hewitt. Continuing on TurboTax's sort of pricing tiers, you have the Premier Edition. So this Premier Edition will cost you anywhere from $100 all the way to $125. And so this is what you would use if you have investments. Let's say you have to actually file Schedule D or Form 8949. And this Premier Edition also covers rental property and related tax implications. You can download a return for one state for this cost, but e-filing will cost you an additional $45 to $50. And with the Premier Edition, TurboTax searches for more than 450 to 500 deductions and credits and covers things like stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, and more. So you have, like, in terms of granularity, you are well served here. And you can automatically import your investment data from participating financial institutions as well. And so this edition is equipped to handle over 10,000 trade transactions, which should cover the most robust investment portfolios, and it can support cryptocurrency transactions also. And finally, it offers personalized guidance to determine which type of investor you are and properly review your return. And so TurboTax actually, they have a self-employed edition, but for this year, they are actually thinking about either having it as a standalone edition or just integrating it into the Premier Edition. So it's either or. They haven't decided yet, but you have a self-employed edition, and you also have some add-on options. So TurboTax actually includes upgraded online versions of its basic or free, deluxe, and premier products that lets you consult with the tax experts for help and advice. It will cost you anywhere from $99 all the way to $250, depending on your situation. And state return assistance is also additional. And you can also upgrade to TurboTax Assisted from within any tier, or you can opt for TurboTax Live Full Service, where a dedicated tax pro does it all for you, preparing, signing, and filing your tax return on your behalf. So this is kind of cool. So this will set you back, though, anywhere from $250 to $450 as of this year when you file your last year's return. So you've heard everything about TurboTax. Now let's talk about Jackson Hewitt. Okay, so when you think about Jackson Hewitt, it's one of they have about 6,000 to 8,000 locations. It's kind of similar to I mean, not similar, because H&R Block has more. But you usually find Jackson Hewitt inside many Walmart stores. Okay, and you will probably notice the Jackson Hewitt cubicle in the superstore if you're a Walmart customer. And so the company also offers an online filing platform, okay? And so when we talk about Jackson Hewitt, I want you to think about one-size-fits-all edition. So Jackson Hewitt used to offer 3 online tiers as well: a free option for those with simple returns who only claim the standard deduction, a deluxe edition geared towards homeowners, parents, and retirees, and a premier edition aimed at small businesses, the self-employed, and anyone with an income over $100,000. But the company is actually, they're still thinking about whether streamlining their offering or still going with the 3 or 4 sort of versions. Okay. So, but if in any situation, if you go with the what we thought of, we reached out to Jackson Hewitt and we were told that they might have those 2 options. They might have the one size fits all, or they might have the sort of tiered pricing. Either way, if you go with the one size fits all package, you are going to spend less money, way less money than if you were to go with TurboTax. In other words, this is a situation where Jackson Hewitt becomes way less expensive than TurboTax. Okay, and so if you are a budget conscious sort of taxpayer, you want to go with Jackson Hewitt. That's for sure. Obviously, you're not going to have the same level of, you're not going to have the same breadth and depth of features that you would have if you were to go with TurboTax. But hey, listen, if your tax situation is pretty straightforward or pretty simple, and you don't need all the bells and whistles of a regular tax preparation software tool, then go with Jackson. You want to go with Jackson Hewitt. That's for sure. That's for sure. And it's one of those things where Jackson Hewitt is also really great in terms of streamlining the whole process for you. So from the time you actually file your taxes to the time you receive your refund. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax versus Jackson Hewitt. Now let's talk about online versus CD or download versus in-person, right? So the thing here is that when you think about TurboTax or Jackson Hewitt, first of all, Jackson Hewitt has I would say the advantage of having live locations. So as I was telling you, you have about 6,000 to 8,000 locations, primarily inside Walmart stores. TurboTax is primarily online, so TurboTax that doesn't have the same level of the same network of brick and mortar stores or brick and mortar branches that Jackson Hewitt does have. And so it's one of those things where if you're interested in person sort of tax preparation, you might want to go with Jackson Hewitt, because TurboTax doesn't have that. Now, if you don't care about like in person, you don't care about live presence, whatever, you want to file your taxes online, and you are interested in having the most comprehensive sort of software when it comes to features, when it comes to capabilities, when it comes to functionalities, then you want to go with TurboTax. That's for sure. Okay, and the one thing I want to say also is that basically TurboTax does allow you to actually have a online or CD download if you want it. Okay, now generally speaking, CD or download versions are the least expensive, and in-person filing is the most expensive, that's for sure. And features and services offered vary, so a direct comparison is kind of difficult. And one thing I want to say here is that basically only Jackson Hewitt and H&R Block offer in-person filing, although TurboTax has added a new feature, TurboTax Live Full Service, that allows you to meet one-on-one with a tax expert via a live video call. Okay, but it's not the same thing. I mean, some taxpayers love to actually meet with an expert live. They want to meet with their preparer live. They do not want to do anything over the phone or anything over a computer, right? And right now, as of the date of this show, only 2 companies offer this service: H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt. We're talking about the constellation of branches, brick and mortar branches, where you can meet someone, a tax expert, like live. So what is our verdict here? So what is the bottom line? It's one of those things where if you're thinking about TurboTax versus Jackson Hewitt, who should you go for? Which service should you go for? First of all, are those 2 services legit? Yes, they are legit. Those are great companies with great brains. They've been around for a while now, so they're part of the American tapestry when it comes to taxes and finances. So that's not a big deal. That's not a big problem. Now, in terms of which one you should go for, it really depends upon what you're looking, what you want. If you don't care about money, I mean, everybody cares about money. I shouldn't say that, but if you don't care, like if you have a pretty flexible budget, let me call it that way. If you have a flexible budget, go for TurboTax, because you have more options. You have like the UI and UX are pretty good. You are going to actually have access to a lot of features. This is really fantastic. If price is an important criterion for you, then you want to go with Jackson Hewitt, because basically Jackson Hewitt, especially in states where they have the one size fits all option, you are going to save a lot of cash. Okay, and it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to what really matters to your situation. And one thing I need to say here is that if you want to actually take advantage of the free version that both have, basically you're going to have to meet a certain level of income. But it's important to say that TurboTax and H&R Block offer federal and state returns at no cost for simpler returns. And if you use QuickBooks, TurboTax's QuickBooks integration may be a compelling feature, especially if you're looking for, like if you have a small business, let's say you have QuickBooks Online, and you basically you're doing gig work on the side, you have gig income, and you want to integrate your QuickBooks data with your TurboTax, things will be a lot faster. And this also applies if you are a small business owner and you have, let's say, an LLC, or you have a partnership or an S corporation or C corporation. You can still also qualify real fast. So this is fantastic. Before I close to this conversation, if for any reason you do not want to go with TurboTax, or you do not want to go with Jackson Hewitt, there is an alternative. So H&R Block is actually a great alternative to actually consider. I think I was just saying this earlier, because H&R Block is kind of similar to Jackson Hewitt in the sense that it has a brick and mortar, I would say, locations, but H&R Block has way more. They have about 60,000, whereas Jackson Hewitt has about 6,000 to 8,000. So you can see that the delta is 1 to 10. Okay, and that's one of those things where H&R Block is also cheaper than TurboTax. So this is kind of interesting if you are a budget conscious sort of a tax filer. And so basically, if you look at the H&R Block's 4 tiers of online tax preparation programs, you have the free, the deluxe, the premium, and the business and premium. The pricing is way cheaper across the board, but it's more expensive though than Jackson Hewitt, that's for sure. And one thing I want to say also is that you also want to pay attention to what like all the other options, because there are add-ons within H&R Block. So if you can choose to add H&R Block's online assist for unlimited help, starting at $70 to $90 plus $15 for estate filing for the basic edition, and it can go all the way to $150 for the deluxe or the premium edition. In addition to all the features and services included in the 4 tiers in terms of H&R Block, this add-on allows for tax professionals to review and double check your return, as well as officially sign the return before filing it for you. And all programs within H&R Block include live technical support if you run into a problem, along with a screen share feature that allows you to show where you are having difficulty. And H&R Block offers the ever popular W2 capture feature, so you can simply snap a pic of your form without entering all that tedious information by hand. So you can also import your old returns if you did your taxes with another provider in previous years. So in terms of flexibility, H&R Block is really cool. Again, if you want to go with a TurboTax, go for it. If you want to go with Jackson Hewitt, go for it. But if neither option appeals to you, you always have a third option. That's H&R Block. Of course, you have a fourth option. That's Tax Layer. You have a fifth option. That's Tax Act. So you have a lot of options out there. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Into this conversation, I was just doing a quick TurboTax versus Jackson Hewitt compare and contrast. And so let's quickly go through the recap here. So I did the review, and after that I'm giving you the verdict, okay? And I also talked a little bit about the alternative in case you don't want to have a TurboTax or Jackson Hewitt. Go with H&R Block. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.